what Israel is selling nowadays is ideas, air. We sell ideas and we don't sell products. And when Chinese invest in us, it's not that they invest in other countries that they buy, real estate. In Israel, and it's hard. They come and invest in an idea, in a startup. It's not easy. It's not easy for the Chinese market to do that. If you come to think about, most Chinese investments are something that you can touch.
Something solid, yeah.
Something solid. And in Israel, it's not the case. But I think that China understood the potential and the benefits that they can have by investing in Israeli companies.
Long term.
Long term. And this is something special. And this is something very unique, and it's
What do you
difficult.
say, maybe it's a hard question, what do you say about, there is a lot of investment from China in Israel, right?
Yeah.
They bought Nova, or is it Osem?
Nova a couple of years ago.
Right, they bought the biggest milk
Yeah.
producer, and they're building some ports in Israel, and I don't know, tunnels, whatever. And some people are not so happy about that.
Well, it's a global question.
Right, it
how
is.
much
Not
you
just-
open. I think that Israel
No, but the question with Israel was,
is strategic.
yes, they have ties with countries that Israel don't have ties with, and yeah.
So I try. What we did, what we're doing with China, for example, they're building now the Tel Aviv subway. It's our biggest logistic project that we have. I think that Chinese as well understand the restrictions that we can have, and there are certain issues that we don't collaborate. Because Israel is also a very special country, we have quite of a unique environment that we try not to rely on other countries because of our history, because of our experience. Therefore, I think that both sides here understand the yes and no's. And in terms of innovation, we have no limit to cooperate with Chinese parties or Chinese companies. It can be something of software, and it can be something like what you have here, that is something very that you can touch, for example.
Right. And it's innovation, but Israeli innovation, but in China, made totally in China, right? So what kind of, what can you tell us, like what's going on now with the relationship in terms of innovation in Guangdong or all around China, between Israel and China?
So basically what's happening is that Israeli companies come here for two things. First of all, to get investments, because the Israeli companies, they are small, and what they need is capital to continue their elaboration.
So VCs, Chinese VCs and stuff like that?
VCs mostly, and especially here in Shenzhen, in Guangzhou, there is money.
Right.
And it used to be more in Hong Kong before also, and I think that Chinese understand that they can slowly changing, invest in startups, invest in the future. That's the first thing. Secondly, we need to produce. Israel is not a production site. We need place to produce. This is a great example. It's Israeli idea or technology, but where we would produce it? In China.
Right.
That's the second thing. And the third thing is the market. Now, Chinese are really trying for Israeli companies to come here, but unless they give these three things, they will not come. And this is something that is very hard for us to explain, because sometimes you have this beautiful park. I'm sure that every Israeli company that will get here free room, free Wi-Fi. It's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
They will get the investment. It's not enough for us to come. I need the market as well. Okay, so this is the big challenge, but there are a lot of Israeli companies on high tech that are doing it. We have good examples. It takes time.
How much fear from copying them plays a role?
It plays a role. It plays a big role, and that's another. Today, to say copy, it's a little bit basic, but yes. The fear of the IP, but I think that the Chinese government is doing a lot of good work in the IP issues. I participate in 2-3 symposiums about it, because they understand that it's a huge problem.
So if you do have a patent, you should be fine, right? Because you can sue. It's not what it was like the wild east.
No, you can sue, and it's easier, and you have a lot of support from the government.
Right.
Once the Chinese government went into it, they understood that it's people will not come. People will not bring their
Right. Do you assist companies that have problems like that? Do you in any way in a position to assist them?
We cannot get involved into legal matters, but yes, we try to assist them. For them, no, not advice. For them to have a fair trial,
Okay.
fair treatment.
You're trying to help on that. Okay.
On that. For example, let me give you an example. There's a case with our neighbor here, the big company,
Okay.
and they wanted to do something on Saturday. So we explained that for us, and the lawyer cannot come on Saturday because it's a religious day, and they understood it. Then the court moved it to Monday, for example.
Okay.
Because for us, it's to have fair treatment. For example, if there is an Israeli or Colombian in jail, I will not, my job is to see that he's treated as anybody else that is not.
You can visit him just to see that, not to help legally.
No.
Basically.
He has a lawyer. I can give him a list of lawyers, etc. It's my job to see that he gets, translation that is. But I will not, because Israeli, I would say immediately that he's, innocent or something.
Did you ever have a case like that?
We have a lot. Luckily, in South China, we don't have Israeli prisoners. So we're the good boys here.
Yeah.
We're quite a few Colombians, unfortunately.
I suppose so.
I think a lot of countries.
A lot of countries,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. The set talk is like, okay, we invented this and that, and cherry tomatoes, and the USB stick, and all of those things, right?
Yeah.
What other things like they do with China? Anything that you say?
I think that one of the.
I know that I hear that medicine is China buy medicine from Israel.
Biomed. Listen, one of the problems of that the world is going to face, it's third age. The population, and we see it now with the COVID. Especially in Europe, United States, in China also, the population is getting old, and we need more solutions. Not so much in pharma, but all around it. It's biomed. So there are a lot of Israeli companies that are doing biomed here. We have even a center called Bio Island in Guangzhou.
They make it here. They develop.
They develop it here.
Joint ventures.
Joint
kind
venture.
of thing?
Usually joint venture. Joint venture because we have a lot to learn from the Chinese also. Biomed is a big thing. The health in general, it's a huge thing. Application APPs that has to do with health. Israel is very advanced in that. Another thing that is a big issue here now, it's the fintech, financial technology. So that's another thing that is very strong. So biomed, fintech are the things that they're very rentable. Because if you get a nice thing in bio, you can become very rich very quickly, and fintech as well.
Israel was the third or fourth nation in the world that signed the 10-year visa agreement with China, and I guess that's because we want to attract more Chinese tourists, like everybody else.
Yes, absolutely. The Chinese tourists are good for the Israeli economy.
Yeah.
It's a different tourism that we're used to, because most of tourism that comes to Israel it's a religious tourism, and Chinese are more evangelical and Christian.
So more like shoppers, or
I think that the Chinese, first of all, Israel still is a different or exotic destination for them, because it doesn't go into any of those queues. It's not European, it's not American, it's not African. It's different. It has everything, it has nothing. So it's a little bit interesting on a way. It has the Red Sea, the Dead Sea, which is
very famous.
They're famous about here. Good shopping and the diamonds. Israel #1 export is still diamonds. So basically, the diamond industry in Israel is based upon Chinese tourism nowadays. So first of all, our visa is the cheapest one in the market.
You mean our Israeli visa is the cheapest one? How much is it?
Nothing, basically. Less than 100 RMB.
Oh, wow. US is like 1,000. Wow. For any country, you mean, or for Chinese?
So for Colombians as well?
Wow.
Colombians do not need visa to Israel.
Let's go.
So, and yes, the 10-year visa is more for business. because
You want to make it easy, right?
we want to make it easy. Visa shouldn't be an issue. I know. Another thing is that a lot of consulate, part of the budget is the visa fee.
Yeah.
I think for me it sounds unreal, unrealistic. So there's no tourism, you don't have a budget. It's
For Chinese to go to the US, it's not just the visa cost, it's the agent that needs to help them because they are really terrified they
And
won't get the visa.
Prepare the papers.
So we
prepare-
here also, this is the only country that we have a visa center. People don't come directly to the consulate; they go to a visa center, but it costs another 100 kwai.
So you mean the people don't go to the consulate?
No, then there's no need. It's quicker to go through the
And
visa
it's
center.
anyone get it basically?
If they,
Not anyone, but I mean
yes,
it's very easy.
It's not difficult.
Right. I always say that we have the good side of this racism. Jews in China. I mean, Chinese have a fascination with Jews. Even today, here, this floor, when we had lunch, I sat with two Chinese. They have an office here, and they didn't speak English, but they brought up the Talmud, right? So, which is, for us, it's a Bible thing. It's like, it's a religious thing, But, so they have a thing with Judaism that, what is that?
I think that there is, I believe, not only in China, also in Japan and
Right,
Vietnam,
Japan too,
in the
yes.
East, that they see the stereotype of a Jewish person that is relatively more, he studied more, he had more money, he's more intelligent. I always tell them, I
savvy.
wish.
I always say, you never been to Israel. How was not so
Yeah.
smart? No.
But it's a positive thing, and I think
Yes.
that it's a positive thing. I won't,
Won't argue.
I won't argue with that. One of our biggest problems, as me as an Israeli diplomat, is to have the expectation level realistic.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they forget that we are 9 million. That's it. And everybody's saying, "Oh, Israeli companies should come." How many Israeli companies we have?
Yeah.
So the expectation level has to sometimes
Adjust itself.
adjust itself,
Right.
like anything else in life, but also towards Israel.
Right. And so yeah, they go to Israel. I guess they may expect everybody is smart, everybody is businessman. Obviously, it's not.
One thing they expect is to be expensive, and it is expensive. Israel became
Israel is expensive. Yes,
Very expensive.
It's expensive. But for a lot of Chinese tourists, it doesn't matter too much, right?